Cool. Oh, nice, that's on. All right, howdy, thanks for showing up. This is my senior project. My name is Joseph Coleman, and I decided to learn how to make a movie, so that's what I did. So let's get started. First step to making a movie is having a script. So I had a few challenges with making said script. There are two minor ones, so like writer's block was really hard, just getting myself set in like one space so that I could just like write and like not think about anything else. And then also dialogue, I learned that I'm not very good at writing dialogue, but I was able to overcome that just by kind of like sitting still and just giving myself enough time. But those were kind of minor. The main three challenges when like writing any story really, if you want to like have it be a good movie, is does it mean anything, is it personal, and is it interesting? And someone like me, like personally, I don't feel like I've been through necessarily like a lot of hardship, or I don't have like the most crazy like life story, and that makes it hard because something that's personal might not be interesting because, like I said, I've had a pretty sheltered life, and all stories need a point of contention. So what I had to do is essentially let go of the personal side aspect of that and just kind of like move on, and that allowed me to make a story that I think was pretty interesting. All right, so once I had that script done, I had to start thinking about the logistics. So first of all, I had to reach out to find the set to shoot on. That house right there is owned by the Audubon Society, and I actually had to reach out to them, and they, for whatever reason, allowed me to rent it for an entire month, turn the electricity back on, even though it had been abandoned for over like 3 or 4 years, and gave me like full keys and everything, so I was able to set dress, do all that. Insurance, we had to get insurance for the house, which was kind of a hassle. Time frames, so I had 3 different actors. Only one of them was from Maine, or was currently staying in Maine, so that made it kind of hard, so we had to like coordinate with like a bunch of different people and stuff, but we were able to figure that out as well. And then the third thing, which kind of goes with the fourth thing, is finance. So all this gear and stuff that I was going to be using was really expensive. So what I was able to do was I was able to make my own equipment, which I'll show you in a second. And then I was also able to borrow some money from a few people, so that was really great. All right, so prep. As you can see in the top left, the house that we were going to be shooting in was just incredibly gross. Like, it was empty. There was just gross stuff all over the floor, cracks in all the walls and stuff like that. So that was a really long process to clean that up, but we were able to get through that. We had to sweep, vacuum, whatever, put that stuff in the walls to like cover up cracks and stuff. But we were able to get through that as well, although it took a really long time. And then finally, we got to the point of set dressing. So that's where, like you see in like the 2 right slides, like bringing in furniture, bringing in a bunch of stuff from my house and a few friends' houses, and then just getting it looking like a place that you'd be like, oh, would people really stay here? And set dressing and writing dialogue are kind of similar in the sense that you just need to stop and ask yourself, would someone really stay here? Or for dialogue, would someone really say this? So it's kind of like, there's like a little bit of symmetry there. So that was like one thing I learned. And then also lighting was pretty important. I don't know if you can see, I really wanted to get like this red aesthetic for the film. And so we had to actually go for vintage light bulbs, which gave off a little bit of a bright, redder glow, sort of. And that was super great just for like getting the right aesthetic that I wanted. All right, so first day of shooting. It was really stressful because there's like a bunch of people, well not really, but in my mind there's a lot of people, and they're all kind of watching you and making sure that like, you do the right thing and like waiting for you to give them direction. So luckily I was able to have a bunch of people that were really like friendly and supportive, and also knew what they were doing. However, it was not easy. The first day of shooting, we got everyone ready to go. We were all pumped up, ready to shoot. I had stayed up really early the night before, really late the night before rather, getting everything ready, and then we get there, everyone's lavs mics are turned on, my camera's turned on, the set is dressed, all 3 actors are there, everything's perfect, and then I go to turn my Zoom H6, which is basically, if you see on that boom right there, in the middle slide, it's that little thing that like records the audio from that microphone, and smoke started coming out of it, and basically I blew it up. So that kind of sucks. But what I was able to do was send it overnight and have it replaced. And then the next day, we were able to go and we actually got into it. And it was a super big relief, like just shooting something for the first time, because up until you do it, it's just like, you have no concept of what it's like or what you should be doing or like anything like that. So that was actually pretty sweet, just getting it done. You can also see that's on the far right, that's a dolly that I made, and on the middle, that's a boom microphone that I made. So since I basically was really broke, I had to like make my own stuff a lot. All right, Red Bull and the flow. So big shout out to Red Bull. It's kind of like the only reason I was able to do this. We were staying up till like 2 a.m., like pretty much every single night for like 2 weeks, and then a little bit later for another week after that. And then after everyone would leave, like all the actors and stuff, I would have to like pack everything up, lock up the house, and do all that stuff. So it would be like even later. So I was pretty much exhausted, so I couldn't really do anything else other than this project. So yeah, Red Bull really came in clutch for that. And the flow state. So basically, I can't really compare it to anything, but when like day after day for like a couple of weeks, you just do the same thing and you have one project and you have like one single like focus, you kind of get into this weird state where like time passes by really fast and like you're only focused on this one thing. So these last like 3 weeks feel like a couple days to me, but it was all good. You can see a bunch of shots. We did a bunch of crazy stuff, like shot on the river, shot on top of a car, shot in that gross, creepy basement. There's just a bunch of stuff, but it was really cool, and I had a really great experience, and I learned a lot of stuff. All right, so next up is editing. Editing was something that like is currently going on. Like the film is not done, and like I made it clear that like my final project isn't the film itself. But and I had used Premiere Pro, which is the editing software I used before, but I'm finding it really hard. Not necessarily hard, but just really tedious. But it's just something you have to get through. One of the things that's hard is that we're recording audio separately. So for example, when you shoot on your phone, you might notice that the audio and the video is synced for you. But for us, since we recorded audio and visuals separately, I have to sync those together in post. So that's really hard. And I also forgot to turn my camera mic on, so I had, for most of the shoot, so I had to do it basically just by like in editing, just like by how it looks, like when someone opens their mouth, that's when I start the video and stuff like that. So that kind of sucks. And then another thing was multiple sequences. Basically, since this film is pretty long, it's about 20 minutes long, I had to have multiple sequences in Premiere Pro, which is really hard because I've just never done that before, and I didn't know exactly how to like merge those sequences together and stuff like that, but we were able to overcome it. Another huge thing that kind of goes along with editing was storage. So my camera, if you leave it shooting for about 30 minutes, it takes up 1 terabyte of storage. So that's like really crazy. So we needed to have about 12 terabytes of storage, which is like, I don't know, maybe like 100 of these computers or like 200 of these computers or something like that. So it's a ton of space, and that was really expensive. And the first thing I got was called a solid state spinning drive. And I got that the first day, really excited to store all my footage on there, and it also blew up. So there's kind of like a weird symmetry about stuff just not working out for me. But I feel like it was the right thing, and I was able to get these solid state drives instead, which I have like 12 of them, and they're all terabytes, and that was really cool. So that was good. All right, so what's next for this film? Festival submission, I'm gonna submit it to a festival, definitely. That happens after this process. It happens when editing is going on. The submission process is something I still need to learn about, and there's a bunch of different things. For example, we recorded in 6K BRAW 5:1, which basically means that the file sizes were just super huge, so that when I put it up on a big screen, not this one though because I didn't set the settings right, it'll look really crisp. At film festivals, however, for some reason, they downscale it down to 1080p, which is like worse than like what your iPhone shoots. So I was a little bit confused by that. But I think I figured it out, and what it is just that when your camera quality is so big, when you downscale it, it actually saves a lot of the quality, and it also makes it easier for festivals that have projectors and various screens and stuff. It's like a more manageable file size. Am I satisfied with this film? Not really. I'm super like, I want everything to be exact, and I don't feel like, as of yet, it's like perfect, but as I said, editing's going on. I think that I definitely was able to capture something that has the quality and like, I effects and stuff that make it look like it's a legitimate film. So that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, if you care about when I submit this film and like if you want to see it, you can follow me on Instagram and I'll like post about it when I do that. But that'll be like a month or two down the road. All right, so I'm pretty much done. That's most of my stuff. I think I'm running out of time. So I will just answer questions for a bit, and I'll also just show a few pictures from the movie as well. So yeah, any questions? Oh yeah, clap it up. Here's a few slides from said film. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna say maybe like, personally, I think I've spent pretty much every dime I have, but about $6,000 to $7,000, which is really expensive, yeah. But I'm also gonna sell a lot of the equipment and stuff I used when I'm done, so, yeah. Yep.
Can you tell us a little about the film?
Yeah, I can. So a big thing for me was that I didn't want to show like the film as my project because I don't want to like kind of half do it and not have it be like as crisp as it could, or et cetera. Basically, the film is about a woman who goes blind, and her daughter comes to stay with her, and then ominous things happen from that. And I'm not gonna get any deeper than that. So yeah, a little smoking shot might be a little too bright in here. Usually, when you're showing a film, you don't have big lights on it, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah. It is in my future. So I'm going to California to Loyola Marymount for the School of Film and Television, and that's like what I want to do and stuff. So yeah, hopefully it is in my future. So yeah. And yep.
Do you know which film festival you're going to submit to?
No, and basically, at least from what I've heard, I think that's all. Okay, there's one more. And then, so from what I've learned, you kind of make the film and then do the festival first. You don't like pick a festival and then like, oh, I'm gonna make a film for that festival. I'd love to get it to like a legitimate film festival. So, I mean, I'm not gonna like say any right now. Just I don't want to like set the expectations too high and then not meet them. But hopefully a legit one, probably one that's not just in Maine, but like bigger, a little bit bigger than that. But there's also some great film festivals in Maine as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Where did you find the actors?
So really fortunate for the actors. I happen to know an actor. My stepmother is an actor, so that was pretty cool. That was a big help. And then the person that we rented our house from when we were building our house happens to have a daughter who goes to Northwestern to be an actor, so that was cool. That was a nice little find there, a little connection. And then Janet also knew another friend who I also knew who could help out for the third role. So it was super great. Got super lucky with the whole actors and stuff like that. So yeah, yep.
What was it like for you, like trying to direct all this, knowing you're working with professional actors, and I hope the others are as well. But does that feel intimidating at all?
Yes, it did. Not a ton because I don't really think about it. I just kind of think about like just working with like my friends and family and stuff like that. So I don't really think about it. But then like when you stop and think about it, it is a little intimidating, but I was kind of too focused to be intimidated, like the saying that like arrogance is like how you start anything. So I guess I was just super focused and just arrogant and like not really thinking about it. And then it never really stopped and like caught up to me, like all the stuff that I was doing until after. So I was actually able to do a super great job with that. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. My name is TJ Whalen, and welcome to my senior project, The Other Side of Golf. So my history with golf, I grew up with a club in my hand. My two grandfathers were big golfers, and they kind of brought me into the game of golf. And to this day, it has become something much more than a sport. It's kind of molded me into the person I am today. So I've been interested in golf as a whole and all aspects of it. But it seems as though I've only really experienced one side of golf. For my whole life, I've been a consumer and a player of the sport. So for this senior project, I wanted to dig deeper into the management side of golf using 3 main focus points. So the first being learn what it takes to run and facilitate a golf tournament. The second being learn more about the rapidly changing technology and fitting process. And I also wanted to make golf more fun and accessible for a younger audience and give back to those who have helped me become the golfer and person I am today. So step 1 of this process was reaching out. So this project required a bunch of people and permission from those people who were much higher above me in their status. So I had to reach out to them using email and text in some cases. So I learned that email is your best friend. You can really reach out to anyone using email. And I also learned you have to be persistent. You can't just give up if someone doesn't respond to your email. In one case, I didn't get a response back for a week or 2. And I ended up having to send another email just checking in. And I ended up getting a response back, which was great. And then I also learned that the more the merrier, as you'll see in a couple slides. Yeah. And this flyer on the bottom is another form of reaching out, but you'll see how it comes into play in a second. So my first focus point, running and facilitating a golf tournament. So if some of you don't know, the Freeport golf team won the state championship this year. I believe we've got a couple players in the crowd. But this earned us a ticket into the National Invitational down at Pinehurst, which is in North Carolina. So this requires a little bit of funding. So one of these funding ideas is a scramble golf tournament. And I thought this would be a good way for me to get into the process of running and facilitating a tournament. So what do I need to do to put on this tournament? I needed to contact the course about putting it on. I needed to create an idea of how much profit we would make. I needed a couple more sources of income rather than the initial fee to play in the tournament. I needed to get a couple raffle prizes and some food for the players and do all this while spending as little money as possible. So first, let's start with raffle prizes. So raffle prizes was a little bit difficult because I didn't want to spend any money. It would have been much easier to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and just buy a couple sleeves of balls and set them out as raffle prizes. But I had to walk around town to over 20 different companies in Freeport and basically get on my knees and beg for a donation. So I ended up getting donations from the Blue Lobster, Abacus, CVS, Bow Street, Sherman's, and Brunswick Golf Club, as well as Freeport Golf Club, which really helped as another source of income, as well as making this tournament more intriguing to some people who weren't as interested in the golf aspect. So some statistics from the golf tournament. We were only allowed to have 9 teams registered, seeing as there were 9 holes on the course. But we got 8 of those 9 teams registered, which was great. We have 7 players that were Freeport High School students, which was also awesome to see some involvement from kids here. We raised over $900, which was great. We had some guys out on holes hitting shots for people that cost $5. May or may not have been worth the $5. But we ended up making a good amount of money as well as feeding a good amount of people. We got donations of burgers and dogs from Food City, thanks to Zach Sklar. And we ended up having a nice cookout after the tournament, which was great. So my second focus point was learning more about golf technology and the fitting process. So I wanted to understand the build and technology behind the basic golf club. I also wanted to learn more about the professional fitting process of fitting golfers into equipment based on their swing needs and numbers, numbers produced by their swings. I also wanted to learn more about modern golf technology and the leaps it has made, and I wanted to demonstrate my knowledge in some form. So the first step I took in this focus point was going down to True Spec Golf, which is in Boston. In my original plan, I wanted to go down to this place called Manchester Lane, which is a professional Titleist fitting area. But when I called back in April, I got a response saying that there was a wait time until August. So that was not going to happen. So my second best option was True Spec, which was amazing. I got fit by Tyler Yearley, who is a master club fitter at True Spec. He started by testing all of my clubs and getting an idea for what I was hitting and the numbers I was producing. They track these numbers using a piece of machinery that tracks the golf club and spin rates produced by the balls and how fast the club is moving. So he used those numbers to narrow down the dispersion by using he basically just put me into a bunch of different clubs and saw the dispersion rates go down and eventually fit me into the club that had the tightest dispersion rate, which was the Titleist CB KBS S-Taper Shaft 120 stiff, which probably makes sense to nobody, but it was a successful fitting and it was very fun. So the second step was an interview with Bubba Kroger. Bubba is currently a field manager at a golf apparel company named FootJoy, but he used to be a professional club fitter for Titleist at Manchester Lane. So I had a great interview with him. I talked to him about his current job. I talked to him about the fitting process as a whole and technology that comes with it. And I also talked to him about his past and how he liked his job as a club fitter and potentially my future in the golf industry. So at the end of the interview, I ended up talking to him about some of the players he had fit, which was pretty cool. He has fit players such as Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Adam Scott, Webb Simpson, and Billy Hornschel, who some of you may not know, but I grew up watching these players. And it was really cool just to talk to someone who had such a good connection with them. So yeah, and demonstrating my knowledge. So it's kind of hard to talk about this on stage right now, but it's because there's so much numbers and just aspects to the golf club. But I made a pamphlet, which is located over on that table over there. So if you want to grab one on your way out and learn about the golf club, with the basics, lies, lofts, and grinds, shafts, club heads, all the rest of that. So then my third focus point was giving back. So golf is typically advertised to an older audience, but I wanted to broaden this to a much younger audience. So I wanted to help younger kids enjoy the sport that has helped me in so many different ways. And I did this by partnering with Youth on Course Maine, which is a new golf, it's like a new association that's, it's used to help younger kids get into the game of golf more. So yeah, so Youth on Course Maine is an organization designed to help younger kids get into golf. Basically, the whole gist of it is you buy a $5 membership, a Youth on Course membership, that gets you onto 20 courses for just $5, which makes golf much more affordable for the parents and just more accessible in a whole. And it's brand new this year, so it needs some more members and some more advertisement for this whole thing. So that's where I came in. I know a younger audience's mind better than the 40-year-olds that are currently running it. So my idea, I wanted to help out with some of the play days, which are basically some kids that you can sign up for a play day and then you go out and get paired with some other kids from around the state and you end up making friends and having a good round of golf. And I also wanted to create fun and informative TikToks to reach a younger audience. and just put it out there for a bunch of people to see. So some of the results from that, I didn't go viral like I wanted to, but I got 17 followers, 127 likes, 2,331 combined views so far, and I'm still producing some more videos, so hopefully those numbers will rise. I've got a QR code up there if you want to go follow it. You can take out your phones. Sorry, but you can take out your phones if you're going to scan that. So, yeah, and it's called YOC Maine if you just want to go follow it on your own time. So some skills I used from FHS on this project were speaking to adults and being more confident with my voice. I used this when asking for raffle prizes at the beginning. I was very nervous going into it, and that was probably the reason why the first store I went into was a hard no. But I realized that if you're just confident and know what you're talking about, then people will learn to respect you despite your age. I also used many different areas of math classes, just putting on the tournament and using the numbers. And I also learned how to write a professional email that helped me reaching out to more professional people and sounding more professional myself. Creating and designing flyers and pamphlets that helped me get the word out better and much more informative and a fun design. And proper communication was good for communicating with some of the people that helped put the tournament on, as well as Brian Bickford, who helped me with Youth on Course. So I want to give a big thank you to my parents for supporting me through all this, Mr. Willette, who is my project advisor, Jason Harris, who's the pro at Freeport, who helped me put on this golf tournament, Brian Bickford, who gave me the okay to help out with Youth on Course, James Bubba Kroger for being so willing to be interviewed, Tyler Yearley for fitting me, all the Scramble donors, the parents of FHS Golf for being so accommodating and helpful with this tournament, Matthew Kempf, I don't really know what Matthew did, but he was a good help, and FHS for this opportunity. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
How is golf going to be a part of your future?
So I'm going to Roanoke College. I'm majoring in business and playing on the golf team. And I'm not sure if I want to go into the golf industry, but there's a saying that business is done on the golf course. So that could help out. That could help out with my future. But after talking to Mr. Kroger, he told me that while the deeper you get into the golf industry, the less golf you end up playing. You're just surrounded by it and you don't actually get to play it. So that was kind of eye-opening. But yeah. Yep.
What are, so I love that you were working with the youth on course.
Yeah.
That's so cool to really build that program. What are some things you would say to youth that are interested that you would hope to inspire them to want to play the game? Like what would be some of your go-to statements about why
Yeah.
you might want to learn this game?
So I would just tell them that, I mean, golf is a very social sport. You can get in your own head, but you can also make a bunch of friends and have a good time on the course. And it's something that you can play your whole life. I mean, I know we hear that a lot when it comes to golf, but it really is true. The younger you get into it, the more fun you're going to have when you're older. But it's really just such a good sport. You can make so many connections through it. And it builds you as a character as a whole. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I've got a few videos coming out for the TikTok channel. I've got some like educational videos on your swing and how you can like get rid of a slice or something. But I plan on doing that as well as helping out with those play days and just being more like being kind of a go-to guy for those kids. But yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Jacob?
You said that you had a lot of influencers with like
Yeah.
Right. So am I your biggest influencer? And if not, why are you lying?
Not at all. That's no lie. My grandparents, biggest influence. They helped me get into the sport, and it's great to look up to them as a person and a player. All right. Thank you.